So, quick recap. In December 2023, I went on a massive adventure around Asia, including stops in Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Seoul. In the first episode, I discussed my adventures in Hong Kong, including my thoughts on their MTR, as well as paying a visit to the former locations of the Kowloon Walled City and Kai Tak Airport. In the second episode, I discussed my adventures in Shanghai, including my thoughts on the Shanghai Metro and my first time on high-speed rail. But today, you've tuned into the final episode of my Asia adventure, where I'll be exploring the city of Seoul, the capital of South Korea.
Which I actually visited 6 months ago. Seriously, today is 6 months exactly since I was in Seoul. Boy, I took my time getting into this video.
With a metro population of 26 million, obviously the city needs an incredible metro system. And believe me, they do not disappoint. The Seoul Metro is expansive, frequent, fast, and interestingly seems to have the most character and charm of any metro system I've used in Asia. Notably, Seoul has an extensive suburban rail network, just like many Australian cities. And if you stick around till the end, you'll get a bit of a bonus look at some of the train footage that my friends filmed over the past year or so. Kind of like an end credits scene. Just stick around and you'll see. I'm Sharath and welcome to Building Beautifully. Before I continue, massive shout out to my monthly Ko-fi supporters. Please do consider supporting me over on Ko-fi if you can. Also, please subscribe if you haven't already, and do be sure to check out the rest of my channel, your go-to YouTube destination for all things city planning, after the video. Edwin and I arrived in Seoul on the 20th of December 2023, planning to stay for 10 nights. There, we met up with a few of our other high school friends.
Wave. You're not in the shot.
This guy had like a fan meeting in Thailand.
No, I didn't.
Did he actually? Yeah, he did.
I did not.
We stayed in the Hongdae district, a very infamous tourist district of Seoul, nearby Hongik University Station and the university itself. It was a really nice district with lots of restaurants, shops, and even karaoke bars. Seoul in general was really nice. There was just something about the city, a really nice vibe. Everyone was really friendly. The way Koreans say "annyeonghaseyo" every time you enter their store or restaurant just really makes you feel welcome. Seoul was just the perfect middle ground between Hong Kong and Shanghai. It had the nice, busy vibe of Hong Kong, but wasn't super crowded or overly dense. It had the nice cleanness and developedness of Shanghai, but it wasn't that quiet. I really liked the vibe of Seoul, and honestly it was probably my favorite city out of the 3 that I visited. Now, when we arrived in Seoul, it was so cold. I thought Shanghai was cold, but when we got to Seoul, there was some sort of cold snap going through. It got to minus 14 degrees, which as an Australian who lives in Sydney, is pretty much the coldest weather I've ever been in. God, it made me miss Australian summers, I'm not even joking. But on the plus side, I got to have my very first white Christmas. It snowed on Christmas, it was just so beautiful, I was so happy about that. Oh, and I was also lucky enough to see New Jeans while I was in Seoul. On an ad. I mean, I still technically saw New Jeans in Korea, it does count. So, let's get into exploring Seoul's metro. Seoul's metro has a topology probably best described as circle radial, but it has a lot of lines, so it's certainly not as clear as, say, Singapore. Also, unlike the other cities we've visited in this series, Seoul has several different types of rail. Even now, I can't fully comprehend which line is which. Lines 1 to 9 and both Incheon lines are rapid transit, although parts of line 1 are commuter rail. The RX is commuter rail, specifically their airport rail link. The Gyeonggi-Jungang line, Gyeongchun line, Swin-Bundang line, Gyeonggang line and Sohae line are also commuter rail lines. The UI-LRT, Shirim line, Shin-Bundang line, U-line and Gimpo Gold line are light metro lines. Finally, the Ever line is a people mover. Phew! I think that's all of them, and I'm very sorry, I know I mispronounced them. We'll dive into what the difference between rapid transit and commuter rail is a bit later, but first, let's appraise the Seoul Metro. The system is massive, with 768 stations spread out over 1,262 kilometers of track. That's insane! Of course, this isn't really true though, because that includes the light metros and the commuter rail lines, which shouldn't really count. So really, Seoul has 337 stations across 816 kilometers of track. That's still very impressive. Seoul stations had a certain charm to them. Unlike Hong Kong and Shanghai, you really do feel the age of Seoul's metro. It is the oldest out of the three after all. Those other cities felt really new, shiny, and therefore almost charmless. Well, I have to admit that was mainly Shanghai. Hong Kong was pretty good overall. I actually liked that Seoul's metro had a bit of an older feel. More importantly, the system was actually quite busy, unlike Shanghai, though certainly not as busy as Hong Kong. But still, that was refreshing. I like busy systems. I like busy cities. They just have a nicer vibe. One thing I loved about Seoul, and could probably rave about for the rest of the video, was the ringtones. Every time a train is about to arrive, they play this ringtone. Or they play this ringtone. And when you're on a train and you're about to arrive at a transfer station, they play you this song.
This song keeps getting copyright claims, so I'm talking over it so YouTube doesn't notice it. What the hell is this dancing? What am I doing? No, stop, please, for the love of God.
Or they play you this song. Whoa, whoa. It's a very small touch, but as a tourist, it was really endearing. It gave Seoul a stronger cultural identity in my eyes and really set it apart from Shanghai and Hong Kong. Just like Hong Kong and Shanghai, Seoul had signs in both English and Korean, as well as Japanese. Seriously, I do think Australia should consider multilingual signage, just in general, if we want to accommodate tourists better. Oh, and exits were really clearly marked out in Seoul, much better than Shanghai. Once again, the stations were massive. We got quite accustomed to Hongik University Station, as we used it a lot, and boy was it big. They really do want us to take a plane to Busan, don't they? I might take the train to Busan instead. What's the joke? That's not a joke, that's just the name of the movie. Now, you actually can't really use Google Maps in Seoul, which is a bit strange, but you can use Naver Maps. It was really good. Fairly easy to use and had an English version, although you couldn't put spaces between words, which was weird, but just be prepared for that. Even better, it would actually tell you which carriage to get on at the station to best line you up with the exit that you were taking, and could calculate how long you'd need to walk through the station when making transfers. Brilliant. Seoul also has an express metro line, Line 9, something I've never actually seen before. Pretty cool. Let's briefly put the spotlight on Seoul's AREX, which stands for Seoul Airport Railroad Express. This was an incredibly useful railway, which links not just Seoul Incheon Airport, but also Seoul Gimpo Airport, and a bunch of local stations, such as the station near where we stayed, Hongik University. That made getting to and from the airport from our accommodation really easy, believe me. It's crazy how it's a no-brainer to Asian cities to link their airports and city centres by rail, and yet not so logical in Australia. Seoul is winning. Easily. Okay, now let's get into the weaknesses of Seoul's metro. The system overall feels older and not always as high-tech. Displays on platforms didn't very clearly show when the next train would arrive, but I do admit it might have been written somewhere and I just couldn't tell because it was in Korean, but yeah. We used the transport card T-money to tap on at all stations, but you could only top the card up with cash, which was really inconvenient. Overall, I would have preferred the convenience of Hong Kong, where you could just tap on with your phone or with your watch and top up with any credit card. To be fair, this was only because we were travelers. Seoul locals can top up with a credit card, I'm pretty sure. But it was still annoying. It was sometimes hard to figure out which platform to go to because Seoul has some pretty big stations. I remember we spent like 20 minutes at the multi-platformed Guro station trying to figure out which platform to take to get to Gwanmyeong, and Naver Maps didn't really make this very clear for us. Again though, I do suspect this could have just been since we don't know Korean. Transfers in Seoul were, just like Shanghai, not particularly seamless. Honestly, I think they were actually even longer. That's why Naver Maps feels the need to specify how long you'll need to walk for transfers after all. A bit disappointing. For the first time ever in Asia, I had to wait 15 minutes for a train. We were taking a train down to the Railway Museum from Shindorim to Yiwang Station via Line 1. And yeah, there was a massive crowd waiting for the next train. I genuinely don't know what was going on that day or if those are normal frequencies, but yeah. Finally, Seoul was definitely the most road-centric city that I had visited on this trip. For a city with such an impressive metro system, they had shockingly high levels of traffic. There was traffic everywhere. Kinda disappointing given how incredible their metro is. But to be totally honest with you, these are mostly nitpicks. For the most part, I loved Seoul's metro, and it's obviously far ahead of anything Australia has. Let's take a moment and put a spotlight on something that Seoul has and until now I hadn't seen in an Asian country. Commuter rail. Commuter rail should be familiar to Australian viewers because every major city in Australia has commuter rail, although we do usually call it suburban rail. But you might be wondering, what is the difference between suburban rail and rapid transit, or metros? Well, rapid transit is generally more frequent and prioritizes getting people between places. The rolling stock reflects this, generally having lots of standing space since it's not really intended for very long journeys. Rapid transit is not about getting everyone into one place, unlike commuter rail, which in Australia at least is specifically designed to get commuters, which literally means people going to work, from all over the suburbs into the city. No other primary purpose. That's why there's usually more seating since journeys take longer. Usually frequencies are lower as well. Suburban rail also tends to be at grade more often, as its systems tend to have been built decades ago, before urban development and any consideration of grade separation was made. To be totally honest with you, Seoul's rapid transit lines and suburban rail lines will seem pretty similar to each other if you're not paying attention. But a train geek like me, or you if you're watching this, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, we should notice the difference. Pay attention to the at-grade sections on certain Seoul lines, the slower speeds, and the older platforms that clearly have retrofitted platform screen doors. At times, riding on Seoul's outskirts on its commuter rail, it felt like I was back home in Sydney. In particular, Goodall Station reminded me of Hornsby randomly. There was this somewhat familiar view looking from the concourse, but more importantly, there was this stabling yard just south of the station, just like Hornsby. Why does Seoul even have suburban rail? Well, they've had railways since 1899 and have simply upgraded their commuter railways over the years to have rapid transit-like services. I'm telling you this because it offers a template for how Australian cities can upgrade their rail networks to a metro-like service. That would involve increasing frequencies, duplicating or even quadruplicating more track, and most importantly, adding screen doors to most stations to reduce the risk of railway incursions and delays. Now, one last thing before we finish up. I was actually recognized twice in Korea. Isn't that random? First, at the DMZ. This guy emailed me weeks later saying he heard me there, but he didn't get a chance to say hi. But the second people did. These two Aussies actually came up to us on the street and they said they liked my channel. That's crazy.
Shareth, where were you though?
Don't worry about that.
No, you have to tell us. Give the audience what they want.
We were outside the Blackpink production company headquarters. Alright, that's more or less my rundown of Seoul complete. And with that, we've brought my 3-part Asia Adventures series to a close. I really hope you enjoyed it. To close off, I'm going to be doing something a little bit unorthodox. You see, all my close friends know that I'm a YouTuber now, and so for the past few months they've been sending me videos of all the trains that they've been on around the world, which is really cool by the way. So please do my friends a favor and watch all the way till the end. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Ugh. Where's this train? I've been waiting forever. Okay, you want? I was in. Welcome back to Building Beautifully. We today. We're running. So, come with me. Okay. Come on. Don't come on. There's so many people. So, this is the Dunedin Trailways. It's January, so there are different trains that you can catch. Dunedin Railway journeys. It's actually pretty boring, so.
Okay, this is another situation where I have to talk over the music or else YouTube is going to copyright claim me and take all my money, and I'm pretty sure only about 10% of you watch to the end of the video, and that 10%, you guys are really important. I love you guys, but I kind of also need to make money on this video. You know what? This is a really nice song too. I kind of want to keep it. Amy told me every Chinese person know this. Every Chinese person... Amy, why am I struggling so much to say this? Amy told me that every Chinese person knows this song apparently, and it's a Taiwanese singer. I think it's a nice song. Okay, I think we're done. You know, the worst part is I'm recording all of this and I don't even know if it's going to work. I mean, YouTube might still copyright claim me, but they usually don't. Like, the copyright claim system is kind of weird. It's like, if you talk over the music, it doesn't detect it. Anyway, this is a really nice song. It's from the movie Your Name. You guys should watch it. It's about this guy who keeps switching into a girl's body and a girl keeps switching into a guy's body, but it turns out they're, well, I won't spoil it. It's a good movie. Jason sent me this footage. He went to Japan and he filmed all this footage for me. He was actually on the Seoul trip. And, you know, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Wilson, too. 'Cause I didn't put a voice over the Wilson's part because that music wasn't copyright struck. Okay, I think we're at the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.